Good. Add 25 to both sides, or we can get to where we just can do it in our minds, right? If you move this over, it becomes what?
Plus.
Positive, that's right. And then over here, we're left with equals 0. The equals 0 is important because that's how we know that one of the factors has to be 0.
How do you do it?
Well, now we do the next step. Positive 5, x plus 5, and x plus 5. That makes 10 when you add and 25 when you multiply. So our answer is what?
What?
Our answer is what?
Negative 5.
Oh, negative.
Negative 5.
Opposite sign.
Opposite sign.
You can write it twice, but you don't have to. I only use that shortcut because there's nothing in front of the x. Letter B, write it the right way. It would be x squared plus 4x what? Minus 12 equals 0. Two numbers.
6 and negative 2.
Good. I heard positive 6 and negative 2.
What?
So you kind of already know what your answers are, don't you? What are they going to be? Negative 6 and positive 2. Good. But for showing work, they like to see the actual factor. Negative 6 and positive 2. And number 3 is the same way, except it becomes one of those problems where they have a 3 in front, and it makes a big, big difference. All right, it's already written the right way, but we have to factor it now. There's nothing in common. 3 doesn't go into the 1 or the negative 14, so we're going to have to do it this way, the old way. All right, so I need two numbers that multiply to what? 3 times negative 14. Is that negative 42? Okay. You guys, are you getting this? Because this changes now.
Yeah.
It's got a 3 in front. Negative 42, and on the bottom is a 1. So think of those two numbers. It's going to be like a 6 and a 7, right? 1 second. I'll go over to 6 is 7. Good. The 6 is negative. We got from the top part, see how it was always just this one? It's the first times the last. So now it changes again whenever there's a number in front. It was 3 times negative 14 gave us that. And the 1 in the middle went here. In the past, it was just 1 times 25, so it was easy. Or 1 times negative 12, so it was easier. But now it's 3 times negative 14. See that? And the first times the last goes on top. So it's 6 and 7, but since it's a positive 1, that means that the smaller number has to be the negative one. Now this one's not so easy. You can't just make it negative 6 and negative positive 7. It won't work because the 3 was in front. So what we have to do is consider 1 times 3, and we have to consider 1 times 14 and 2 times 7. Which numbers here could give us, let's start with 6.
1 times 3. I'm so confused on this part. I don't know what we're doing.
Let me let's move this down. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. It was the easy kind. This is the harder kind. So let me say this again. You got this part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's negative 6 and 7 are our magic numbers now. We need negative 6 and we need 7.
Oh, they have to add up to 7?
Good.
Do they have to add up?
Look at one number from here and one number from here. Which two numbers could make negative 6? 3 and 2. That's how you know which numbers to use. Use a 3y here and a 2 here.
We're doing math.
That. You can do a guess check method, but I find this way just saves me time. And then which two numbers could give me the 7? 1 and 7. That's right. So it's 1y here, and it's positive 7 here. Wait, no, something happened.
Does that mean negative 6?
That should have been a negative 2. That's
Oh, you were messing up.
what?
Plus 7? It's plus 7?
Yes, it's minus 2 and it's plus 7. Because we needed a negative 6. We'll do a couple more like that. And then this one would just be positive 2. All right, some of you can see that in your head, but let me write that out for everybody. 3y plus 7 could be 0. You would subtract 7 from both sides. And then when you divided both sides by 3, you would get negative 7 over 3. Divide by 3. For this one, it's just y equals positive 2. So those are our 2 answers. Okay, so it is different if they put a number in front of the y squared or the x squared term. That's going to be the trickiest part. I'm going to try 1 with you, and then let you try. Well, no, I'll just do them all with you. All right, for this one, it's not that easy because they have the 3 in front, and 3 cannot be divided out from any of the problems. So our numbers need to be, what goes on top? 3 times 10, good. The first times the last. On the bottom, negative 13. All right, 3 and 10, could they work this time?
30.
Yeah. As long as they're both negative, they can. If they don't, then try 15 and 2. There's usually more than one combination to try.
Oh, 15 and negative 2.
Yeah, except that would give us a negative 30.
Oh.
So in this case, we're going to go with where they're both negatives. Negative 10 times negative 30 is positive 30. Add them together, you get negative 13.
Oh, yeah.
And now be careful, there's a 3 in front. So to set up our factors,
You do 1 times 3.
3 and 1 you have to consider, that's right.
Oh.
And over here you have to consider either 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. How do you know which ones to use? You use these 2 magic numbers right here. So since I'm starting off with 3 and 1, I'm going to let this one be negative 3. Which 2 numbers can make that happen?
1 and 3.
You multiplying for this one, so 3 and 1. Good. 3x and negative 1. Good, thank you. Negative there. But not negative 3 for the next one. The next one on the bottom has to be what?
1 and 10.
Negative 10. So the 1 and the 10 can make that happen. That's right. Whoops. Yeah, negative.
So it's just
All right.
X.
So we put 1x, or just x, and then what goes right here? Negative 10.
Negative
And it
10.
works.
Ooh.
Can you tell me what this is going to be? Positive 10 over what? Positive 10 over 3. And what's this one going to be? 1. Whoops, I forgot my equals.
Is it just 1?
Just 1. Yeah.
Why is it over 3?
Where you do that chart for the
I'm so
you
confused.
know you have negative 10 and negative 3?
These two?
Yeah.
Does it matter if one goes on the left or the right? Is that what you're asking? It doesn't matter.
So, what is this
You can't use the
If it was negative 10 on top, you would just have to make sure that you use the 1x here, this 1, and this 10. Okay? If you use the 3, there's no way to make it into a 10, so I had to use the 3 for that. If you put negative 10 up top, you would just have to make sure that these 2 numbers make 10. And your only 2 choices for the x's are 3 and 1x, so you have to use the 1. Alright, the last one, letter E.
Wait, so that 10 would be 10 over 3?
Positive 10 over 3?
Why? Because they're both negative? Yes.
Well, not both, just this case, and it's, when you solve for 0, you'd be adding 10 to both sides, and then you would divide both sides by 3. Because you have to remember that the whole point is that one of these is equal to 0. So 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. You would do plus 10 and plus 10, and then you do the divide both by 3.
Oh, so you're just dividing 3.
Yeah, you're just making them equal to 0 and just solving for x, basically. Alright, let's skip letter E, actually, because I see some of you might be out of space for this last example.
No.
So cross off letter E. And let's do this one. You have to write this one in, so write that down right there. Write a quadratic equation for these solutions.
Wait.
I know. You have to write it in.
Wait, what did we write?
In your blank on the bottom right-hand corner, copy down the directions, write a quadratic equation for these solutions, because you will see this. And I'm going to ask you to think this through and help me with it. I want you to think about what we've been doing. Like, we figure out what x is here, right? I want you to go backwards and say, what would the quadratic equation be in this case? Anybody have a thought or an idea?
Wait,
guys?
which one?
Especially when it's complicated, make sure you're
Would you
complicated.
do A, B, and C on the 3? Okay. Yeah, would you do that?
That's what we're going to try to end up with.
A, B,
But,
C
yeah.
without exponents?
You said with exponents?
Without.
The A is always with the x squared. That
Yeah.
always has the exponent in it. Okay, but let's try going backwards. Where did these answers come from when we did it?
From the, that break.
From the parentheses, right? So let's take this and go backwards. Let's write parentheses equals 0.
Right.
Is it X? Are we supposed to say it out loud?
That's right. Okay, so it's just going backwards. They gave you the solution, and like you said earlier, we have to make sure we go with the opposite sign. So it's not going to be x minus 8. It's going to be what?
X plus 8.
And
X
minus 11.
equals 0. But that's not a quadratic equation,
Oh, we have
so
to
we
go
have to
farther?
FOIL. Can you do it in your head yet?
Oh yeah, it's X squared. Oh.
Good.
You're such a rookie.
If you multiply it out, it would be negative 11x, and positive 8x would make negative 3x, and then the 8 times negative 11 would be negative 1.
So then that's, we just think it as that, right?
Yes, that is the quadratic equation right there, and that's what they wanted. Okay, so there's going to be some like that when you're working on it tomorrow.